We wanted to film a little family video on the process of how we got here in Arizona. And so in order to do that, we have to back way up to this past March-ish. And we wanted to do this because two things. We want to create this kind of vlog channel so that we have family home videos to look back on and kind of remind ourselves of what we've done and where we've been and how far we've come. And two, we think that it might be helpful because this is some of the stuff that I would have been searching back in March and earlier this year of how to do this and how to make your dream of moving cross country a reality. And so yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Back in March, we decided we were seeing so many people move across country because you can now, and with COVID, everybody's working remote anyways, so really what's the difference? And I just had an epiphany. I was like, why don't I just ask my company if they would allow it? And created a little PowerPoint of how it would work and presented it to my boss. She was super supportive and all the nerves fell away pretty quickly after that, and then I got the final go-ahead a couple weeks later that we could move.
It just worked out perfect for me in my situation where they were doing some downsizing, happened to offer a severance, and I decided to take that. But also having, Rachel's income to make us feel comfortable and not feel like we're just coming out here and nothing's lined up definitely has helped.
Which I think you absolutely
the process a lot too.
Almost need.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely need at least one person
age,
that's going to be bringing in some money.
You gotta have something lined up with at least 50% of your income. And then the next decision was where?
It wasn't an easy decision as far as where, and we really wanted something completely different as far as, climate, the scenery, the outdoor activities that you can do, and get rid of the cold weather. That was kind of one of the big things.
Cost of living is a factor.
Cost of living, yes. Definitely some places that are way out of question, and that's okay because there's still other places within that state that you will be able to find somewhere to live that's affordable. It might not be exactly where you want to be for the whole time that you're there, but you can always work your way up to those more expensive areas. But I think just taking that stuff and getting out there and actually doing it is going to help you kind of get through that and get to that next, stage that you're looking to get to.
And then closeness to other things. And there's a lot of things near Arizona that we really wanted to see, like a lot of national parks in Utah. We wanted to be in California.
On the coast.
I was just going to say that's like partly where we wanted to live, but since we couldn't get the same quality of kind of standard of living from Minneapolis to California, we opted for Arizona, which gets us close enough that we can visit there. And so anyway, so we've got quite a few factors playing into this, but then also you've got family that's here that made the decision
which
a lot
helps
easier.
A little bit.
And potential to do things in your field of passion, golf. So that's why we chose Arizona. And so once we decided where, then we kind of figured out how we were going to get here and what that logistically would look like. And we decided that we wanted to move in September just because
it gave us the full summer to still be at home and be able to say our goodbyes to people and hang out one last summer and,
If you live in Minnesota, you kind of know that summers are a little bit sacred. The weather is so nice and everybody packs every single social engagement pretty much that they can into the summer. And so we figured it would be one good last hurrah, and we had a few weddings towards the end of summer.
On top of our own wedding and moving and then moving again, and it was a busy summer. But now that we're on the other side of it, looking back, yes, it was busy and hectic, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And the benefits of being here now, it's just great.
Like the reverse. I thought like, oh, it's fine because we'll have like a month in between. Like we'll move from this place, we'll get settled in this place, we'll get married, we'll have like another month to plan and finalize all of our plans, and then we'll move. And I was like, this sounds doable. Like this doesn't sound too stressful. We had a bunch of like goodbye things with friends and family, so it just filled up really quickly, and we didn't have a ton of free time to like just sit and pack and like do the logistical planning things that we kind of thought. So that was kind of a mad dash to the finish line too. Giving ourselves that time and like that goodbye transition period, I think was wise.
It's tough when you make that first move. You don't know what to expect. You don't know really what you're getting into 100%.
Yeah, we had a pod arrive about like the week of our lease ending, and then we packed up as much as we could. We sold a few things on Facebook Market that were like bigger pieces that we knew we didn't want to take.
Get whatever money we can from it, throw that into a little savings so that we have some extra slush fund money on top of what we saved over the summer, and also just to help out because we are on one income.
Yeah, so we got a smaller pod, which helped save a little bit of money. Store it in like an air-conditioned facility, so that was nice, in Minnesota. And then once it got closer to us actually leaving, we had to repack a few things. So you just have to call ahead, and then they give you access to it. Then they ship it. They'll basically give you options for like a ship window, and then it arrives here, and then you can have it delivered, and then you can unload it. So it allows you to kind of do everything in steps, and you get small chunks of charges along the way.
So it's not one large lump sum, which is
so financially
hard
it
for
makes it
some
a little
people,
bit easier as well. So pods is a good option. U-Ship and
U-Haul
are the other two options that we looked at, and all in all, pods probably was more expensive.
I feel like they're all relatively close.
But they're similar.
It kind of just depends on which way you want to travel with your stuff.
We went with pods because it was the best option at the time. We got quotes from all three. And for the storage, the amount of time that it was going to be sitting in storage, and the shipping kind of assurance, like pods, the customer service is unmatched. August, after our wedding, we had planned out our road trip and how we were going to actually get to Arizona. So initially we were going to have his car and my car, caravan, down to Arizona. And we were going to stop a few times on the way down. So if you look at the line, it's either Omaha or Denver, and we figured Denver is a little bit more exciting, so we stayed there.
We made it.
We made it. To pizza and whiskey.
Best peanut butter whiskey ever.
Best blood orange Manhattan that I've ever had.
And we get to, well, at least I get to look at this nice sunset with clouds and a mountain range. And I guess I get to stare at this view too. And then we brought this little guy. He's all worried about his chipmunk. Just causing a ruckus.
Yeah. Overall, it's good though.
Until next time.
Then we planned our trip down to Flagstaff because we figured if it's his birthday, let's see the Grand Canyon, spend a couple days, a non-driving day mixed in with 4 driving days, and then we'll end up in Arizona towards the end of the week. Okay. So I would keep plotting points on the map, trying to figure out what made sense for a day of driving, and I figure nobody wants to drive more than 12 hours a day. Spend our last weekend with my sister Megan and her family at her house to stay there while our mattress was packed up, so we needed somewhere to stay. First night that we stayed there, it was a Thursday night. We had gotten there and we parked on the street. There was apparently a big storm that came through, really high winds, lots of trees and things down. My car ended up being totaled. And so that whole weekend was kind of tossed, and for a moment there we didn't think that we were actually going to be driving to Arizona the following Monday, because we were like, well, my car's either going to need 4 weeks of repairs because parts and everything are taking forever right now, or we're gonna need to wait here and figure out, you know, if it's totaled and what my car situation will be after that. And so it was like almost a full day of like confusion, a little bit of panic, a little bit of exhaustion of just wanting to be on our way. Like you kind of feel like you're never gonna get there. Like I said, it like felt like we were waiting kind of a long time, and granted there were fun things to do while we were like waiting. We were still having a great summer with our friends, but we're like, there's this big thing in our future that we just like can't wait to get to.
I think it was a sign saying that we were meant to drive together on this trip and not in separate cars, because I had literally parked right in front of Rachel, and one of the branches that fell on the front of her car landed kind of just in between both of our cars rather than hitting my car as well. So in a way, I think that there was some good that came out of it. It ended up making the trip a little bit more enjoyable because we weren't in separate cars. We were able to talk a little bit more.
We could switch.
We could switch drivers if we needed to.
You didn't.
It was a long drive. That first day was definitely the toughest. The 12 hours to Colorado. The most boring drive. It was just, I don't know how else to say it. It was just very boring. After that, it was great. From Colorado all the way down through the mountains, down through Flagstaff, down into the desert, into the valley when we got down towards Phoenix. It was absolutely beautiful. That was a lot of fun to see all of those different mountains and different forests that you kind of go through right before you hit the desert. It's kind of weird that northern part of Arizona still has all the trees and lots of green areas. And then as you go farther south, it just completely changes. So it's like you're almost in like two different states, but it's one state. It's just absolutely beautiful. That's all I can say about the second half of the drive. It was awesome. When we did stop in Flagstaff, Grand Canyon was one of our main stops. That was kind of my birthday present from my wife, Rachel. It was both of our first times there, so it was a great experience for both of us, and we got there for one of the most beautiful sunsets I think you could have possibly seen. So
it was super clear. You could see into the canyon really well.
It doesn't seem real.
Yeah, it seems
like
you're
pictures don't even do it justice. When you're there and actually looking at this Grand Canyon,
we'll put pictures up on the screen, but you just gotta go. It's seriously.
I honestly don't know how to put into words the feeling of looking at that amazing.
Yeah. And we filmed our first YouTube video there.
We did.
If you haven't seen it, go check it out. We finally made it here. We're staying in another rental from Grant's wonderful, sweet, generous, loving grandparents. And it's a full-on house. We've got a backyard. We've got 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, spacious kitchen. It's been really comfortable.
Like a sunroom that has an office for Rachel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been nice. And
Rent-free.
We've just been...
So that's a big help too.
Mm-hmm.
Letting us get our feet on the ground and find something to move into permanently. So it's been a big help. So thank you, Grandma and Grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a great week. I mean, Rachel's got a week worth of work in. I've put in a few applications, waiting to hear back on some jobs. Hopefully we can get that going sooner rather than later. But it's been a great week. I mean, the weather's been perfect. We got here perfect timing as far as what everyone else is telling us and what we've been witnessing for ourselves. It's like 80 and sunny, which has been really, really nice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's no more, feeling down about like not going out and taking advantage of a nice day, knowing that like the next day itself is going to be exactly the same.
Every day is a nice day.
So that definitely helps, I think, with our mood most days.
Our next move will be into our final resting place, our final home. I think we'll have 4 homes or 4 places of residence this year after it's all said and done. So it's been a process, but hopefully that provides some insight. And I mean, there's lots of kind of unconventional, there's a million ways to move across country, but I think the overarching themes here are cut costs where you can, because you never know what your unforeseen circumstances will be, i.e. a tree branch on your car. Or pods being a little bit more expensive than we thought because freight went up. What else unexpected? Anything big? I don't know. But you just have to prepare for the worst. Cut costs where you can.
I made sure I went through all like the checklist of making sure my car was all up to date on everything, and oil change and tires. We both did that to make sure that while we were driving here, we wouldn't run into any issues. So that's probably another thing. I mean, obviously,
if you're gonna do a long car,
trip, make sure your car is ready to go so that you're not gonna have any small issues that could possibly come up. Obviously, things still are out of your control and it could happen, but as long as you're taking those precautions right away, more often than not, I would say that you're going to be fine the whole trip and not have any issues.
Pack healthy snacks.
Yeah. Especially
we
if
barely
it's...
had to stop, and we
for the
got
first
here
day
really
at least,
quickly.
yeah, it was...
I feel like we made good time on all of our trips just because we were super prepared for the car ride. We had all of our snacks.
Well, the first one for sure. The second two weren't necessarily 100%.
Our longest haul,
but we ate all of our food basically. Yes. That's going to do it for this week. But make sure you check in next week. We'll have a new video up. We're going to start kind of getting into our new apartments and all the different, stuff that we've been doing to try to find a place. So yeah, lots of exciting things yet to come, and hopefully you guys will be there to join us next week when we get that video posted.
See you then. Like,
Stay
subscribe,
tuned.
press the bell.
See ya.